Yo boys, back with another video. I had some mic issues on the last video, so we're basically going to be redoing it. I want to get this tier list out immediately. Now you guys will have to let me know if this mic's better. This is a new mic, but we'll see how it goes. This is after the buffs, after everything that's been going on, so there are a shift in the meta. I mean, there's a lot of things that are playable. Anything that's like AoE wise, and honestly, almost every class has a spec that is really good. So that's the only time where classes are kind of balancing out. There's some that are way too strong. I just wish they would fix the MMR rating. I don't really care. This would be a perfect balancing if the rating and MMR were good. Fortunately, it's not going to be very good. But first off, if you're looking to push Gladiator, play Fury Warrior. Fury BM Hunter, Fury Enhancement Shaman, Fury Ret, Fury Mage. There's a lot of things that you can play. Go play. If you're looking for an easy glad, BM Hunter and Fury Warrior. It's gonna be your easiest by far. But let's get on with the video. First one, we're gonna be starting off with Fury Warrior. I would say it is now the best spec in the entire game. It's pretty much 3 timesing everyone else's damage. It's literally one-shotting on its burst. It is crazy. It's ridiculous how strong it got. Not that isn't really too surprising since they buffed everything by like 20%. But yeah, that's that. Arms Warrior is gonna be A plus here. Arms Warrior does a ton of damage, and the only outlier is Fury Warrior is better, but Arms Warrior is really good. It does a lot of burst. It's huge on dampeners. The only thing that it does struggle with is maybe consistency, but like when you have them, like they have unhealable burst dam. Fury Warrior has like unlimited damage. That's like that break. That's the difference between S tier and A plus. So A plus means it's really good, but it's not quite at S tier. Um, Rot Warrior, I'm just gonna put it at B tier just because it is actually playable. If you guys haven't known, there's been a lot of tank warriors. It is playable. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm just gonna put it there. The next one we're gonna be going over is gonna be Druid. Wrestler Druid, to be exact, is gonna be A tier alone. It does solid healing, and it's okay, but when you face like an Evoker or anybody that goes you, it's just impossible to heal the dam. Like you're just dying in 3 globals, all your hots are getting purged every 15 seconds. Not just one of them, your entire hot rotation gone. So, you put full hots up before you get CC'd, you get CC'd and all the hots are immediately gone. It's pretty bad, not really that good to be honest. It's pretty trash. The next one we have is going to be Boomy, which is also going to be A plus tier. Boomy does a ton of burst damage, a ton of CC. The only downside to Boomy is its defensive cooldowns are kind of trash, but when they have massive amounts of burst and massive amounts of CC. Probably some of the best in the entire game. Having, spammable clone that's not uh, nerfed is just really insane on top of Rubin and top of Incarn one shot, which is insane. It does a lot of damage. The next one we have is Pharaoh Druid, which is going to be our second S tier spec. Pharaoh got buffed by like 6% on every ability or damage wise. I personally think they need like a buff on their defense. I feel like you just die so quick as a Pharaoh Druid, but I guess damage is always good. So Pharaoh Druid's up in that ladder now. I would say before the nerf it was A plus tier, but now it definitely is S tier after those 6% buff on all the damage. The next one we have here is I'm not going to be doing tank. We'll do okay. Frost DK is going to be A plus tier for the meantime. I would say Frost is better than honestly Boomy. I would say Arms Warrior, but not better than Boomy. I think Boomy actually, yeah, I think Frost DK is still better for now. Frost DK just does too much burst, and it's not just the burst; it's the solo CC. You have your triple stuns, your dragon, your cap with silence. So, like you have all those between that 5 second go of one shotting. It's a lot of damage. Now they are going to be getting nerfed in the second season 2. However, right now they're still really good. The next one we have is going to be Unholy DK. It's actually pretty good as well. I would say it's worse than Boomy, Arms Warrior, Frosty Game. It's still up there. It's still at A plus tier. It does a lot of damage after the buffs. Um, that's pretty much all there is to it. I wouldn't say Unholy DK is like. I would say it's good, but it's still not. It's not S tier wise. It's good though. It's still able to compete. You'll see a lot of Unholy DKs. They did get a buff, which helps them, but that's pretty much it. Blood DK I don't really care about. The next one we have is going to be Warlock. Affliction Warlock is going to be the second best spec in the game. Affliction Warlocks are broken, and they've been broken for many, many expansions. Um, it's just they just do too much damage. Their pressure and then their like spammable port and dark pack having it up, they literally will do as much healing as their healers. They're that tanky. Now, um, they're just really strong altogether. Now in solo shuffle, if you don't have a really good healer, it's gonna be trouble. And if you're not really good at Warlock and you don't know when to port, you're probably gonna die in 2 goes because you're like port your class is revolved around porting, and if you don't know how to port, you're gonna be at a big disadvantage. The next one we have is Demo. Demo is insanely good right now. I would say Demo is better than Unholy DK, but worse than Boomy and Arms and that. Demo's doing a lot of damage. It does a lot of burst damage. It's a lot of control. It's like a sub rogue with burst damage, and it has consistent burst. Obviously, it's also tanky. Demo Warlock is just really good. You'll probably see a lot of Demo Warlocks because you can play so many comps. You know, just there's so many you can play. But yeah, really good. Demo's coming up, to be honest. I would say Demo's way better than Destro. And then we have Destro, which is going to be pretty much A tier. It does have good bolt damage, but if you're not insanely good at fake casting, I wouldn't advise playing Destro because it's all revolved around fake cast bolting. There's a reason nobody's really playing it, and if you are playing it, you're playing like an SP cleave. You're like playing a dampener. So, they have to go to the other person. So overall, it does a really good amount of burst, but Affliction Warlock is gonna have way more consistency, and Demo is gonna have way more. So again, Destro's kind of not that great. The next one we have is gonna be Elemental Shaman, which is also coming up in the ladder here. I would say Ellie is better than all these melees and Demo and Elemental Shaman. A ton of burst. It is a tank too, so Elemental Shamans usually don't die in the first 2 minutes of the game. Obviously, it depends on the shaman, but more than likely, they're tanky. They do a lot of burst. You have a 10-second kick. You have ground. You just have a lot of things to help. So, Elemental Shaman is going to be one of your better casters. And it's also instant casting, so you're not really having to do anything skillfully other than maybe like Tremor, etc. The next one we have is going to be Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement Shaman is really insane as well. Enhanced does a ton of burst. Disgusting amounts of burst. Now, off its burst, it's not that great. But if you play, Fury Warrior Enhance or something like that, you're going to be absolutely full throttling. If you're getting procs consistently, it's S tier. If you're just getting a proc every so and so, it's A plus tier. Still, Enhancement Shaman, really good. It is RNG on your burst for the players you face, but normally a good enhance will be able to full throttle the team. The next one we have is Resto Shaman. I would say Resto Shaman's one of your better healers. Now, there are 3 S tier healers. The rest are A tier, or A plus. The Resto Shaman's really good. If you have best in slot, 4 set, and all that, it's still able to compete. However, I will say it lacks a little bit in healing overall. So it does good healing, but sometimes you just need an insane amount of burst healing, and while it does have totems to help, when everyone just focuses the totems now, they have add-ons telling them where to go and how to kill the totem. The moment it's up, you're never getting any value out of it unless you like place them around a pillar or something like that. Still really good. I'd say overall it's still one of the better healers, but it definitely isn't the best. The next one we have is going to be Disc Priest. Going to be one of your best healers in the game. This is your top 3. I would say this is the third out of the 3. So Disc Priest has a good amount of healing, has an insane amount of utility, and it also has CC. It pretty much has everything you would want. It has a little bit of damage. It'll work. There is certain comps like Jungle that you can play, Cupid, etc. But yeah, Disc Priest is definitely one of your better healers at the moment. Holy Priest is pretty much garbage. I would say it's at the same spot of like Unholy Priest. They both do a good amount of healing, but they don't have any defensive cooldowns. Wrestler has Iron Mark, but that's pretty much it. So again, Abe tier pretty much means they're playable, but they're not going to be that good. The Wrestler, Holy Priest, you're not really going to see them, and when you do, you should just annihilate them. Just go with the Wrestler. If you face the Wrestler, go with the Wrestler. It's that simple, I'm telling you. The next one we're going over is going to be SP, which is going to be really good as well. I would say SP is probably ahead of Unholy DK, but behind everything else. SP has a good amount of burst dam and it's great, but at the same time in this meta, you're just taking too much pressure. It's like a Destro Warlock. They're just gonna kick you, stun you, knock you. By the time you get a cast off, they're gonna kick you and they're gonna kill you in between that kick. Still really good though. It has a lot of CC and it does really good with like Shadow Priest or Feral Druid or Fury Warrior. There's a lot of things it can work with, but overall, it's kind of the lower end of A plus tier, but still really good. It's gonna be there's a lot of viable things that you can play. So the next one we have is gonna be Hunter. Hunter, kind of in the same position as Destro. I would say it's probably a little bit worse. So does a ton of burst. Consistently wise, it sucks, but it has CC and it has a massive amounts of burst. Um, Again, still playable, but not that great. Not really gonna see many of them, and if you do, you're just gonna focus them, and they're gonna have a hard time keeping up. So, the next we have is Survival Hunter. Survival Hunter is actually coming up more than you think. Survival Hunter does a ton of burst. However, again, it's kind of a weird spot to put them somewhere because I don't personally think they're that great, actually. I have seen some that have hit like really hard and they do really good, but if you're putting in the perspection of the other classes, I don't think it's gonna be that great. So while Survival Hunter is playable, do damage, overall a BM Hunter or like an A plus tier spec is gonna be a lot better for you. And then we have BM Hunter, which is gonna be the third best spec in the game. A Fury Warrior and Affliction Warlock are the best two. BM Hunter's right behind that. You have a lot of defensive cooldowns, you have a lot of burst. You can work well with a lot of classes. Now, Affliction Warlock is probably only better because of if it does just an insane and has insane CC and its cooldown usage. But BM Hunter is still really good. It's insane. It does a lot of burst, has a lot of defensive cooldowns, has a good amount of CC. They're both just S tier. Really good. They're all close to each other. That's pretty much that. The next one we have is Evoker. Evoker is in a unique place. I would say it's probably the best in the A plus tier. It's doing a ton of damage. You could even say Evoker is S tier. That's how good it is. It does a ton of burst, like an unhealable amount. So honestly, I'm gonna put it at S tier. I'll put it behind the rest of these. But I honestly believe that Evokers just do so much damage. Facing Evoker, they're normally doing top damage the entire game, and especially on their burst when they're like doing 3 million damage a second. It's insane. They're strong. So I'm gonna put it there. The next one is gonna be Evoker, which is gonna be for second to best healer, if not the best. So you can argue all day long what's the best, but Evoker really good. Usually does more healing than any other class. Maybe Lightsmith is the only one that comes near Evokers healing, but it has a lot. It has a lot of damage. It has a lot of utility. It does take a lot of damage, but when you have the that purple shields times three, big advantage, huge advantage, especially versus non-purgers. Really good. Even versus purgers, they have to purge a lot. So really insane. Then we have Aug. Terrible, not playable at all. I wouldn't even put it close to Survival, Destro, or MM. It's just trash. It's garbage. It might have a tiny bit of burst, but overall, it's just gonna get swamped out by the other A plus tier, and it's not gonna stand a chance. The next one that we have is gonna be Rogue. Assassination Rogue is also doing really well right now. Um, I would probably put it somewhere get right here. So behind Frost DK and Elemental Shaman, but still really good. It's really biased on comps. So you need to play with a Frost Mage, SP, or like Affliction Warlock. It needs to be something that allows you, maybe even Unholy DK, something just cringe to play, but it's gonna be insanely good because of just the growth spamming and the amount of burst dam that you're able to get out really quick. It is carried by its classes, but at the same time, if you get people that are stacked up together and they don't know how to kite and they don't know how to get away from their mates, Assassination Rogue is gonna be it's gonna be bad, like it for the enemy team, because Assassination Rogue thrives off people that are stacked together. Kind of a no-brainer. But the next one we have is Sub Rogue. Sub Rogue is just terrible. Now I will put it at the high end of A tier, but it just sucks. It really does. Shadowy Duel is getting nerfed in season 2. This is not adding that nerf yet. If it once that gets nerfed, it's unplayable unless they compensate it with like 15% damage. It will literally need that much. However, they still have Smoke Bomb and they still have Shadowy Duel, so they're gonna be good. They're gonna be solid. Now I wouldn't say they're great. You have to play with the Frost Mage or an Arcane Mage, but that's pretty much it. Have to play with them. Literally a must. If you don't, you're not gonna be able to do anything. You need to be able to kill somebody in 2 or 3 seconds with your teammate in order for you to even catch up. So still not, it's still playable, not very good. You're not going to see many of them. Maybe in 2v2 arena, you may see a good amount of these guys. If you get higher rated, you might actually. I didn't really see any higher rated other than like two, because they die in like two ghosts. Being honest, but still not the worst option, not the best either. The next one we have is Outlaw Rogue. It is a dampener, but it actually is pretty good. I would probably put it behind Boomy. I think Boomy still has way better CC, way better burst. Outlaw just is a dampener. It's meant to dampen people out. So it's basically going in there, doing its burst rotation, stunning everything, and then just trying to do consistent pressure. Kind of just like, it's not meant for fast games, meant for long games. Quote unquote, why Boomy Outlaw Rogue is really good right now, because they're both dampeners. Overall, though, Outlaw Rogue's really good still. I would still put Assassination in front of Boomy Outlaw and the rest of these guys, but still really good. The next one we have is H-Bow, which is going to be the best current healer in the game. It did get a buff healing wise, Wordle Glory 12%, and etc. etc. But I, I hate Lightsbane or Lightsmith. I personally can't stand it. I hate the unique like thing of, oh, I got a damage to do healing. I cannot stand it. I like Herald, but unfortunately, Lightsmith is just 10 times better. You have to play Lightsmith now. It's a literal must. That's unfortunate. I hope it gets nerfed and Herald gets buffed so I never have to play it again. Fortunately, that's not how the world works, and oh well. So the next one we have is Ret Paladin. Ret Paladins are doing really insane as well. I would put Ret probably behind Assassination Rogue, but in front of everything else. Ret Paladins are uniquely good because of their utility. They can run Magic Bop, Regular Bop, Bubble, Lay on Hands, Sacrifice. They just have so much. It's basically like another healer, except they have one-shot potential damage. They have one ability that can hit you anywhere from 1.5 mil to 3 mil. If you're wondering why you're randomly getting one shot, it's that ability. I don't know what it's called, something like Light, but it does a ton of damage. The next one we have is Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage is pretty garbage. Um, I'd put it in front of the rest of the. Actually, we'll put it at low. We'll put it low A plus tier. I think it'll. Yeah. So low A plus tier. I think it does a lot of burst. It's really comp biased. So if you're not facing people that are stacked, Arcane's gonna suck. If you're facing people that are stacked up, Arcane's gonna be insane. So like you facing Warlock as an Arcane Mage, you're gonna just full throttle a million damage consistently. But if you're facing people that aren't stacked, it feels like you don't do any damage. So it's good and bad at the same time, but it does enough burst to make it on the A plus tier. The next one we have is Frost Mage, also doing really well. I would say Frost Mage is actually probably one of the better specs. Um, I would probably put it right here. Well, okay, right here. So Boomy's better because it has everything. It has everything you would want. Frost Mage is a tankier and it's really good in this meta, but BM Hunter, Feral Druids, Evoker, they're just gonna full slaughter Mage any day of the week. Overall, Frost Mage still really good burst wise, but overall, you're not really gonna see an insane amount of them, but you will see some of them. They're still popular, they're still good. I would say Boomy, Rat, Assassin, Frosty Gay, and Ellie are just way better overall. But overall, they're still in the A plus tier. It means they're all close together. They have a similar effect of being close. So Arcane Mage is close to the Ellie, but it's not as good. Ellie, I'd say up to about he. No, right here. So up to here, these are the lower end. So SP, Unholy DK, and Arcane are the low end of A plus tier. Enhancing up is the high A plus tier. You're gonna see all of these a lot, and then you'll see these consistently as well. The next one we have is going to be DH. Absolutely garbage. I would put Rogue in front of it any day of the week. I'd put the only reason it sucks is because DH need consistency. As a DH right now, just die really quick because you don't have enough pressure to force them back. If they're just allowed to sit on top of you, like Shadowlands DH or Dragonflight, they did so much pressure where you couldn't just sit on top of them. You had to run, you had to kite. Now you're able to just, put all your damage, and he has to use every cooldown in one CC chain. They do a lot of burst damage, but consistently wise, they suck. They just suck. It's unfortunate. The buff that they got didn't really do anything, to be honest. But if they were to get like a 6 or 7% buff on everything like Pharaoh did, instantly bringing them up to S tier or A plus high end. The next one we have is Mistweaver. It's going to be our fourth best healer in the game. Or being a short cooldown is really nice. And it has port, which means you're never able to catch it. Overall, really good. If you know how to play Mistweaver, you can make this work eat light work. However, I think Shaman's better overall. You're getting grounding totem, tremor totem, kicks, long range kick, 10-second kick. Earthen. You're just getting so much more. As a Mistweaver, you have your orb, and that's pretty much it. And then revival. Those are your two major cooldowns for your teammates. After that, you got nothing. Still really good though. Fire Mage is going to be really bad as well. I would say Fire Mage is probably the worst of the leader here. So, being honest, we can just put this here. Um, Fire Mage, Aug are playable in a sense, but overall, even these will full slaughter a Fire Mage or Aug any day of the week. So, unfortunately, Fire Mage, it's kind of an AoE build that you can do, but it's just going to die in 3 globals, and its burst is mediocre. Same thing with Evoker, still okay, but not as good as these other ones. Then we have Windwalker. Um, Kind of trash. I'm not gonna lie. I would put it at the top of A tier, but overall, it does a good amount of burst, and that's great. But it's gonna struggle. It's gonna struggle keeping up with damage, especially since they die really quick. Like you face any of these guys with burst, and Windwalker would die just like a rogue in like globals. So it can be difficult to heal these guys. At the same time, it does a good amount of burst. It's still playable. You can still have fun with it. But overall, these are going to be your top dogs. These, Arcane and up are going to be the ones that you see. Past this, you're not really going to see them often. And, I would know because I played a lot of games. And I will tell you, from here down, I rarely face them. Unless it's like a rogue mage. Or that's pretty much it. I don't even face these ones at all. So, let me know what you guys thought about this video. My bad for the mic issue. I'm hoping it's better. You guys will have to let me know if this is the mic I should use from now on. But it's been X. Make sure you check out my Patreon where I try to post early. In the future, it'll be a big, once we get the YouTube popping off in a couple of years, you never know. It could just skyrocket, and I might be posting a lot there. Who knows? But hey, you guys watching, make sure you subscribe and like and comment for the algorithm. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video.